Welcome back. This is Newslink. The time has just hit 11:16 on this Saturday, the 31st of January. As devastating floods hit parts of South Africa, attention turns to how the continent funds climate resilience before disaster strikes. Africa's Green Economy Summit 2026 aims to shift the focus from emergency relief to long-term investment. It's taking place in Cape Town later this month. The summit brings governments, investors and developers together to turn climate plans into bankable projects. Go Green Africa founder Ian Banner joins us now. A very good morning to you, Ian, and thank you so much for joining us for what is increasingly a more and more important conversation. Why do disasters like the current floods highlight the limits of reactive funding?
Good morning, Kendall, to you, and good morning to your listeners. I think, the tragic floods that have occurred, firstly, we must pass on our condolences to the people deeply affected by this crisis. It's hit so many people. It's an awful situation. But we're faced with a situation where we continue to go from destruction to repair, to destruction to repair. We have to change that, not a narrative, we've got to change that action. We've got to move to climate resilience, and we can talk about what that means, but that's absolutely needed for South Africa, and it's needed for Africa.
Surely climate resilience is something that national government also recognizes. It forms part of South Africa's G20 agenda.
Yeah, it certainly does. Lots of ambition all round, well-meaning, all round, but it's the action. And, it's one thing to say, well, we want to become resilient through infrastructure, stormwater planning, infrastructure for stormwater, roads, bridges, master planning of communities and areas that are going to be less vulnerable to this massive challenge of flooding, etc. But to do that, you need financeable projects that are ready to receive funding. We have to get ahead of this game, and there is no
shortcuts.
The funding requirement, no shortcuts, and the funding requirement far exceeds capacity right now. It has to be more than just a local initiative. It's got to be a global initiative.
Tell us a little bit more about that climate finance gap that faces Africa. How severe is it for countries like South Africa, where national policy speaks to it, but the gap between policy and action on the ground, even understanding on the ground, is quite large? How severe is that finance gap?
It's very severe. I mean, it's ironic that if you take at a macro level, Kendall, the fact that, Africa produces the least emissions, and yet, it carries the heaviest burden. There should be funding to fund that gap, that shortfall. It's something that's being pushed for. There are reasons why when funding is made available, it's often not actually realized. It might be bureaucracy. Unfortunately, it has been corruption. But it ultimately comes down to needing to have projects that are ready and fundable to receive that money. And that requires a lot of planning. So we need master planning in this regard.
That's very interesting. Mr. Banner, a question for you that I've got in regard to that is, we've got the Africa's Green Economy Summit coming up shortly, and it aims to connect investors with those bankable adaptation projects, right? How does that work out? What mechanisms have you got in place to do that?
So if you take a standard conference or summit, you'll have plenaries, you'll have breakaway sessions. They are what I call talk shops. When we founded Africa's Green Economy Summit, we did it with the intention of connecting global capital with African green economy opportunity. And so we are more than just a talk shop, we're a workshop. So in addition to the plenaries and the breakaways that are very important, we at this stage have 56 projects and businesses in the green space and in the blue space that are looking for funding to grow. And it's all about job creation. So we are connecting this capital to these African projects. We're very excited about it. It's all about impact. And for me, the ultimate measure is job creation. Because if through this we can create lots more jobs, we have sustainable economies, and we have a bright future ahead of us. So that's happening from the 24th to the 27th. of February, just 4 weeks away. Very excited about it. It's our 4th edition.
Ian, as we look to close and wrap, I want you to speak to two things for me, please. One is where most of the funding seems to be coming from, where we'd be
Yes.
connecting those projects that are ready for adaptation, as well as we
Yes.
close, to just tell us what success looks like coming out of this summit for 2026. In 1 minute or less, please, Ian.
That's a great question. Thank you, Kendall. Firstly, we have got both DFIs and quasi-government funding supporting together with private funding. This blended finance is essential to achieve the outcomes that we're looking for. So we have both sides of that party linked up and coming together to have an impact. So that's the impact. Success for us is about income achieved into projects, funding achieved into projects, and ultimately jobs being created. And perhaps next time we chat, Kendall, we can give you, after the conference, an outcome of what's actually been achieved.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Ian Banner, thank you so much for speaking to us on the side of the road there. No emissions from your car from right now, we can hear that. That was Ian Banner, the founder of Go Green Africa, about the conference between 24 and 27 Feb. He says, it's not a talk shop, it's a workshop. Now, the FIFA World Cup trophy, that tour, has officially kicked off at the Nasrec